Hello, my name is Michelle Gutierrez, and I'm the Program Officer for Quinalma Health Foundation. Welcome, and thank you for reviewing the presentation of our grant application guidelines. This is the second of two presentations on the Foundation's grant making. Part 2 discusses how to complete an application for a grant. Part 1 discusses general information about our grant making process. The materials you need to apply for a grant can be downloaded from our website by clicking on the Apply for a Grant button or by going to the For Grant Seekers tab. First, download and read the 2011 Grant Seekers Guide PDF document. The guide contains important information about our funding requirements, restrictions, and priorities. It includes a copy of the grant calendar, a list of definitions of common grant terms, and frequently asked questions about the Foundation's grant making. It's important to note that priorities and guidelines aren't the same thing. Please check both carefully before you start filling in your funding application. Proposals that don't meet the guidelines might not make it to the stage of being reviewed to see how well they address the priorities. We've made some changes to our application process. We're no longer asking for a cover sheet, narrative, budget, and attachments. This year, all you'll need to do is complete an application and provide budgets. If your application is selected to receive a site visit, you may be asked for more information, but for now, the completed application and budget are all you'll need. Both Small Grant and Northern New Mexico applications are interactive PDF forms you can fill out on your computer. You can download them and save them with your organization's name as the document title, which will make it easier when you submit your e-copy, like this. Filling in the application is easy. Position your cursor in the first empty field and type your organization's name. Use your Tab key to move from field to field. The first page is for information about your organization. The field for your organizational profile allows you to enter a maximum of 1,000 characters. There are several fields like this in the application. Under each one, you'll find a character counter to help you. When you hit the Return key, the field will expand to show all of your text. You can always go back and edit any text you've already entered. Note that the organizational profile requires you to include the year your organization was founded, as well as a description of your mission, your primary services, and your geographic focus. So a typical organizational profile might look like this. Next, we ask for information about your request. There's a box to check if you'll be using a fiscal sponsor. When you get to the project type field, you'll see a bar with the down arrow at the end of the blank field. You can click on it to see the drop-down menu of choices. We're asking you to tell us several things about where your project will take place. Select one primary county, the one that best represents where your project will take place. Statewide is also a choice. Other blanks are available for you to list all of the counties involved in your project, also towns and tribal areas. By the way, if your project takes place only in a tribal area, fill in the primary county targeted blank with the county closest to the tribal area, or where the tribal area is headquartered. Then, use the Pueblo tribal communities affected by the project blank to provide the rest of the information. We ask you to describe who will benefit from your project in your own words first. Then we ask for some specific information about your target population. If it's everyone in the area, or includes many diverse groups of peoples, you can check the Our Efforts Will Benefit All New Mexicans or Northern New Mexicans box. But if you're focusing on a particular group or groups, you can check We Are Targeting Certain Groups. Then use the radio buttons to identify them and the demographic information buttons to provide more details. Finally, we ask you to describe your project. If you're still unclear about the funding priorities to address, you can go back to the Grant Seekers Guide to review them. If you aren't clear on what we mean by other terms, such as policy or goals, there are helpful definitions in the guide. You can always contact me if you have a particular problem describing your project or organization. And if you have any technical issues with downloading or using the application form, you can contact our Grants and Office Manager, Cecily Labor. When you have the application completed, save it as a PDF so you can submit it electronically. Then print it out and have your CEO or board chair sign and date it so you can submit the hard copy. You need to include both a project budget and an organizational budget with your application. The organizational budget should cover all of your organization's activity for the current fiscal year. If you're asking for operating support for your whole organization, you'll only need to submit one budget, with a separate column showing how you will spend the funding you're requesting from the foundation. If you're requesting funding for a particular project or activity, your project budget should include information about all the sources of funding for the activity, including any operating funds you're applying towards the project and any in-kind or non-cash support. For example, donated items such as rent, supplies, or volunteer services are considered non-cash support. Show all of the expenses for the activities with the ones that will be charged to this grant in a separate column. Be sure your budgets are included with both the electronic copy and the hard copies as separate documents. You can submit them as Microsoft documents, Excel spreadsheets, or PDF files. Instructions for submitting your application are on the last page of the application form. You'll need to send in one electronic copy of the application and the budgets. For a small grant application, you must also provide one original and 3 hard copies. For Northern New Mexico Health Grant Group application, provide one original and 7 copies. The submission deadline for small grant applications is Wednesday, June 1st by 5 o'clock p.m. and the deadline for Northern New Mexico applications is Friday, June 24th by 5 o'clock p.m. Complete electronic copies and complete hard copies must be in our office by the deadline. We will send you email receipts when we receive your application. Receipts may be delayed on late arrival of applications, so the earlier you submit, the better. If you have any questions, please contact me at mgutierrez@conalma.org or 505-438-0776, extension 6. Thank you for your interest in Conalma Health Foundation, and good luck.